Welcome to josephsmithspolygamy.org, the audio version. Malissa Lott, sealed September 20, 1843. Malissa Lott was born January 9, 1824, to Cornelius Peter Lott and Permelia Darrow Lott in Pennsylvania. Her parents were baptized in 1834, and the family soon migrated to Kirtland, Ohio, where they met Joseph Smith for the first time. In 1838, the Lotts moved to Missouri and then later to the outskirts of Nauvoo, Illinois, where Cornelius served as a caretaker for Joseph Smith's farm. On June 29, 1843, Eliza R. Snow recorded, "Took a ride to Brother Lott's in company with Mrs. Whitney, Mrs. Durfee, and Mrs. Holmes." By that date, Eliza, Mrs. Durfee, and Mrs. Holmes may have already been sealed to the prophet, and Mrs. Whitney had approved her daughter's plural marriage to him, of Sarah Ann Whitney. It is probable that the quartet discussed celestial marriage on that journey and possibly later with Melissa at the farm. Melissa was sealed to the prophet on September 20, 1843. In 1892, Melissa explained, "He, Joseph Smith, was the one that preached it, plural marriage, and taught it to me." She also testified that Emma knew all about it. She gave her consent. When asked who said that she gave her consent, Melissa answered, "My father and mother. I don't know that they went to her or she came there. I know they were both there at the time with Brother Joseph, father and mother, the whole of them, talking a good many times." Melissa Lott made a plain disclosure of her physical relationship with Joseph Smith during the Temple Lott depositions. "Did you ever room with Joseph Smith as his wife?" "Yes, sir." "At what place?" "At Nauvoo." "What place in Nauvoo?" "The Nauvoo mansion." "At what place in the mansion?" "Do you want to know the number of the room, or what?" "Well, just what part of the house the room was in, if you can give it." "Well, I can give it, and the number of the room, too. It was room number 1. "Room number 1? "Yes, sir." "How often did you room there with Joseph Smith?" "Well, that is something I can't tell you." "Well, was it more than once?" "Yes, sir, and more than twice." "Did you ever at any other place room with him?" "In what way?" "Of course, I mean as his wife." "Yes, sir." "At what places?" "In my father's house." The following year, on April 4, 1893, when interviewed by Joseph Smith III, she affirmed that she was the prophet's wife in very deed. "Were you married to my father?" "Yes." "Was you a wife in very deed?" "Yes." "Why was there no increase, say, in your case?" "Through no fault of either of us, lack of proper conditions on my part probably, or it might be in the wisdom of the Almighty that we should have none. The prophet was martyred 9 months after our marriage." Decades later, R.C. Evans, who had been a member of the RLDS First Presidency but later disaffiliated, recalled a conversation with Melissa. "When in Salt Lake City, I called at the residence of Patriarch John Smith, brother of Joseph F. Smith and son of Hiram Smith, nephew of the original prophet Joseph Smith, and while there his wife Helen told me, among many other interesting things, that Melissa Lott told me that when a girl she sewed for Emma Smith and took care of the children. Joseph had to pass through her room to go to Emma's room. She said Joseph never had sexual intercourse with her but once, and that was in the daytime, saying he desired her to have a child by him." In late 1886, independent researcher Andrew Jensen interviewed Melissa and published this report in the December issue of the Historical Record. Wiles, Melissa Lott, daughter of Cornelius P. Lott and Permelia Darrow, was born January 9, 1824, in Bridgewater, Luzerne County, Pennsylvania. Her parents having embraced the fullness of the gospel, the family moved to Kirtland, Ohio, where Sister Melissa was baptized in November 1837. After the expulsion of the Saints from Kirtland in Missouri, Brother Lott located with his family in Pike County, Illinois, where they remained until 1842, and then moved unto Joseph Smith's farm, located some 4 miles east of Nauvoo on the Carthage Road. Shortly afterwards, Sister Malissa became intimately acquainted with the prophet's family, and on September 20, 1843, she was married to Joseph Smith for time and all eternity. She spent most of the following winter in his family, going to school in the so-called brick store. The prophet's children, Joseph, Frederick, and Alexander, went to the same school under the immediate watch care of Sister Malissa. In the spring of 1844, she went back to live with her parents on the farm, where she remained until after the martyrdom of her husband in Carthage jail. Subsequently, she lived with Emma Smith occasionally until the Exodus in 1846, when she left Nauvoo with the rest of the saints. After spending 2 winters at winter quarters, she accompanied her father's family to G.S.L. Valley in 1848, coming through in Heber C. Kimball's company. On May 13, 1849, she married Ira Jones Wiles, formerly a member of the Mormon Battalion, with whom she lived in Salt Lake City and Lehigh, Utah County, until his death, December 5, 1863. He was accidentally killed while crossing a creek near Lehigh, being thrown from a load of wood into the water together with his son Cornelius John, about 9 years old. Both were drowned. With Elder Willett, Sister Malissa had 7 children, of whom 4 are not yet living. Although now somewhat advanced in years, she is still bright and active and occupies a prominent position in the Lehigh Female Relief Society. She is ever unflinching in her testimony of what she knows to be true, and states in the most positive terms and without any hesitation that she was sealed to Joseph Smith the prophet on the above-named date and became, in the full meaning of the term, his wife, according to the sacred order of celestial marriage. She further states that when she was married to Ira Jones Wiles, he fully understood that he was marrying a widow of Joseph Smith, the martyred prophet, that their association together would end with this life, and that in the morning of the resurrection she would pass from him to the society of her deceased husband. Melissa Lott died in 1898 in Utah as a faithful, lifelong member of the church.